I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning. Carol is fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Welcome back, folks. This is another episode of It's About Payroll. It's episode 190. Holy moly, guacamole. And before we get into it, how you doing, Walt?
Man, I am great. Excited to have our wonderful guest on tonight in the middle of year end, just like I'm sure a lot of listeners are, HR and payroll pros. So other than that, I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm good. You just made me think of something about that Bart said about year end that I'm going to share. But before that, our guest, Jon, and help us pronounce your last name, Jon. Is it Schausten?
Schausten, yeah, really close.
Schausten.
2 syllables, just rolls right off the tongue.
Schausten. Yes, sir. How are you doing, man? This is a payroll veteran powerhouse that we've been trying to get on for like at least, I looked back at my LinkedIn to a message to him a year ago, I think it was. And I was like, what in the hell was I thinking right now? How did I miss this? Man, Jon, thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I love the show. I love the payroll crime junkie stuff. That's so cool.
Yes.
It's so awesome. The mysteries of payroll and thievery that try to go on. And you had some incredible people on, so I'm honored to be on.
Oh my gosh. So. Yes. And yeah. And you're definitely one of them. We're really blessed with folks like yourself that come on, and gosh, there's so much I want to say. Yeah, we have a ton of fun with it. You know, you made me think, like, when me and Walt first started this, we were like, we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about, Walt. This is officially 190, but we've recorded and posted, because we did another show. We're way over 200 shows in payroll talk and true crime. We're like, oh, we're gonna run out of stuff. We're gonna not find. I mean, holy crap, Jon, we keep finding these.
There aren't that many people who are doing this type of stuff.
Well, we'll have to do another one, because I got a couple great stories about payroll crime.
Do you?
Oh
my God.
Yes. I could do that.
Let's book Jon for the next one then.
I love it, and it's just amazing to me the things that you see happen, and you read the news article and you start reading through this. First of all, I'm in shock and awe that people do this. I guess that's, most payroll people I know are like, couldn't be more straight and narrow if you tried, or black and white, and then you see this and you're like, oh, like, I can't believe somebody did this, and you can't believe it. And then you find out, like, to the length, the things that they were doing. It's amazing to me that people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, so we're going to save that, because there's so much to talk about. We're going to have you back on to do that. So we always we try to start with a financial fitness tip for payroll pros, because I found a phrase that sums it up. It says, payroll isn't a cost center, it's a risk management and cost control function, right? We want to help folks reframe and like change that narrative, because some folks think, oh, you guys are just cost us money. And no, but we can help save money as well. And if anything comes to mind, please share it. The one I found today was tax mistakes, silent budget killer.
Mm-hmm.
So little things, right, that definitely cost me 1 year. Review your suitor rates annually and challenge incorrect rates, because this is the time, right? Ensure proper state and local tax setup for remote workers. Capture available credits when applicable, state incentives, training or employment credits. And let's see, Payroll Pro Advantage, you already have the data, HR and finance don't. So you can save on tax rates, avoid penalties and interest, and you have accurate budgeting. Would you say that's about right, Jon?
I'd say so. I think it's funny to me the number of companies I've walked into or hear about where, like, they give a SUTA notice and they say they owe money and they just pay it. They don't even look at it.
Yes.
And like, why would you do that? I went to a company, and it's been years ago. I walked in and they went through a payroll conversion. Not only did they do a mid-year, but they did a mid-quarter conversion. So as I told my boss after she hired me, I was cleaning up the mess for that created. I'm like, if I had been here, you would have probably had to kill me in order to let this happen, because I would have never let it happen. So my first year, all I was doing is cleaning up stuff. And one of the things I found is we had a rate error that had gone on for 4 years in Michigan where they never updated the SUI rate, and they underpaid for 4 years.
Oh,
and
wow.
So
they owed.
It was a large bill, and the penalties and interest were huge. And so I went to my boss and I reported up to HR, because payroll either reports up to HR or finance. It's the unwanted love child of both, and neither parent wants custody. And I went to my VP of HR, said, hey, we're not going to get out of this. I said, but I can do is I can call the agent, because so many companies spend time fighting it and don't, pay it. They're just going to be paying. And I'll just ask if they'll waive penalties and interest. If we admit fault, say, hey, I'm new, I'm cleaning this up, I want to make things right. So I called the agent, and they were like, yeah, do whatever, you're not going to get anything with this. So I called the agent, and she goes, here's what I can do. She goes, I'll waive penalties and interest if you make half the payment this month and half the payment next month. And I started, you can probably see my smile over the phone. And I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, we can do this. You want to send me something in writing? Here's my email address. I'll confirm it. I'll get a check out this week from accounts payable for half of what we owe and pay the half the next month. So I went back to my boss and the VP of HR, and he goes, I can't believe you got them to waive penalties and interest. He goes, but I understand why she wanted you to pay it half this month and half this month. I said, she's in collections. I just patted her 2 months. She got money this month. She got money this month. She's working in the black. She's not in the red. She's got another month before she has to worry about getting a collection in, because I never thought about it like that. And that's kind of what you have to do. If you talk to people, engage with people, tax people, the number of people that feel, I'll never call the IRS and try to work anything out with them. Why? They put their pants on one leg at a time. They're people. They understand.
Yep.
It's the avoiding and hiding from it is never going to take care of it. So I agree with you 100%.
Do you have any idea how much you saved in penalty?
Yeah, it was just a shade under $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was a lot of money. And if you do that a little bit, that adds up quick. If you just manage your, we've talked about that too as part of our year-end stuff. Like, as soon as we're done with W-2s, we flip hats and we put on the SUI rate update hat, because all the states are going to be rolling in that we have, except for, the fun states like New Jersey that have to operate in July because they want to be different. And
oh my gosh.
And so we'll flip our hats and we'll go through and we'll do a whole audit and update our SUI rate and get all that stuff straightened out in the first quarter. So we'll spend a bunch of time cleaning that up. And it's a cycle. If you know what payroll is, things are going to happen. But it's funny that you said that, though, about being risk management and, managing it. That's a really good way to look at it. I have a sign here at my desk that says, payroll is the reason why people come to work. And from a company standpoint, it's the single largest expense that they have. So if we do everything we can to mitigate that and control it, like I tell my boss all the time, I send a report, I'm like, this is how much we paid in overtime. What if we hired somebody and then didn't pay this overtime? Or how much of that is truly work necessary and, things that are being done behind the scenes? I've caught fraud, people lying about hours worked, falsifying overtime, and to thousands of dollars. And, you talk about the crime stuff. It's not necessarily just payroll people that are sneaking and trying to do stuff. It's people that work that try to do it as well.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Walt, you got anything for us?
No, I did, but I'll keep it short and sweet for the interest of time. I Googled how many roles on average does the average payroll pro have in their career.
Roles or rules?
Roles.
Roles.
Yeah.
Got it.
The answer that it came up with was that on average, a payroll pro will have 3 to 5 key roles over a 20 to 30 year career. That it may vary, but they say a lot of that is long-term, stable jobs with some promotions, but even some concurrent contract roles rather than the many short-term related jobs. Like a lot of, payroll pros may have done a lot of temp jobs or contract jobs in their career.
Mhm.
This is saying that payroll is more stable or whatever. And so that
Yeah.
the average payroll pro may have 3 to 5 key roles over their career. So wanted to ask you both really quickly, do you think that's accurate based on your own careers or others that you've seen?
I'll jump in. I've been doing this for 27. This is my 28th year coming up of being in payroll. And yeah, I think before I got into payroll, I started off at 16 working in a grocery store, managing a grocery store. And it's kind of how I accidentally ended up in payroll. We were going from a DOS-based system to this thing called Kronos for Windows. It was brand new. And Kronos. I was helping the HR team roll it out at the store, and I did really, really well with it. They were so impressed how well I did with it. They had me help and train other managers. So I kind of got into it by accident. But I think from a payroll standpoint, I think it's stability. I think I listened to one of your other episodes where like you guys were talking about the average age of a person being in payroll is like 43 or something like that. And there's people that stay in payroll for a long time, but there's people that are aging out of it. And so we're losing that knowledge. But I think it's funny though, when the first thing you thought of when you said payroll roles, I was thinking about what we were called. Like when I first started, payroll clerks, and the name. I think the nomenclature has changed quite a bit of what our roles are called. Payroll analyst, payroll coordinator. There's all these cool niche roles versus payroll clerk or accounting clerk. But I think people are stable in payroll. It's a steady, great career if you want to make something out of it.
Agree.
I agree. I changed by choice. If I think back on it and I didn't have to move around, do it over, I would have stayed at Columbia in New York. Higher ed is such an amazing environment to be in, and it was a great commute. Like I would probably still.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get how stable it can be. What about you, Walt?
I kind of definitely agree with what it said. I think that in my own career, if I look at it, it's almost, I'm right there about 25 years in now. And so a little over 2 decades. So I agree with it about, I've had like about four or five roles that were key for organization in my time. And it wasn't until maybe the latter half of my career, the first, 10 to 12 years, I was, still in that administrator, specialist, senior specialist kind of role, and then after I hit that around the 12th year, I started to get those other key roles, as far as managerial and those type of things. So I agree with it.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
All right, get to it.
Let's get into it, man. I don't want to. Let me do my man Jon some justice here. Jon is a payroll leader with over 27 years of experience spanning union, multi-state, international payrolls. Jon has led complex payroll and HRS implementations, supported mergers and acquisitions, divestitures, and compliance initiatives, including Sarbanes-Oxley, SOX. I was just telling somebody there's SOX and there's SOC, 2 in 1, and Jon has deep hands-on experience across HR, benefits, and payroll operations. Jon's leadership in the profession is unmatched. He serves vice president of Payroll Org, president of the Indianapolis chapter, a member of IRS Advisory Council, and sits on the NACHA ACH Network Advisory Board for Payroll. Good gosh. He's a certified payroll professional, Six Sigma Green Belt, and multiple-time award winner, including Payroll Org's Payroll Man of the Year. Holy moly, Jon, God bless you. If you want insight from someone who's seen payroll from every angle, operations, leadership, compliance, and advocacy, this is absolutely the conversation that you want to listen to. Welcome to the show, Jon.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm lucky to have been able to do a lot of great things in my career. And
you gave me chills reading that. Holy cow, man.
Yeah, no, I've been one of those people. It's funny when I did the interview for the Payroll Man of the Year for Payroll Org, and they're like, so how did you end up doing all these things? I just didn't say no. I just kept saying yes. And, I love to learn and I love to try something new. And it's, the same way, like I got in a payroll by accident. How hard can this be? It's just payroll. I mean, and next thing I know, I'm doing it. And then when I first got into global payroll, we were opening up a site in Canada, and the vice president of human resources, hey, do you think you can do Canadian payroll? I'm like, well, how hard can it be? And then next thing was UK and Australia. And so it just kind of grew from there. And so I had a good solid run of about 10, 11 years where I was doing global payroll, and then switched companies to where it was US centric and not doing that. So I do kind of miss some of it, but it is nice only having one year end versus multiple year end with multiple countries. So there are some positives to it. So, but I traded global payrolls for union payrolls, and global payrolls might be easier. So
Hi, I'm Stephen Rothberg.
And I'm Jeanette Leeds.
And together, we're the co-hosts of the High Volume Hiring Podcast.
Are you involved in hiring dozens or even hundreds of employees a year? If so, you know that the typical sourcing tools, tactics, and strategies, they just don't scale.
Yeah. Our bi-weekly podcast features news, tips, case studies, and interviews with the world's leading experts about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to high volume hiring.
Make sure to subscribe today.
I don't know. I've been really lucky. I'm lucky to work for a boss when I was at Steak and Shake that she pushed me to get my CPP, and I got involved with the Indianapolis chapter of Payroll.org. And it inspired me to kind of get involved with the chapter, and then I got involved with Payroll.org nationally. And now I'm part of, I think, 11 committees. I co-chair 2, and I just recently joined the board of directors with Payroll.org this past year. So
awesome.
My vice president role too on the board of directors. So it's been a really great run. And, you talk about doing that stuff. I get far more out of what I give than what I put into it, if that makes sense. The time I spend doing it, I get far more out of it because I've been lucky to meet incredible people like you guys, other people in the profession, and get to talk about something that people are like, as my 13-year-old son would say, Dad, you're kind of a nerd. And so to have other people nerd out about payroll and be excited about it, it's one of those things where, the other joke, they joke that payroll's the reason why people come to work, but we're also here to turn the lights off. People need paid till the end. So if you're going to shut down a business, someone's got to be there to pay everybody until it shuts down. So last I checked, it's recession proof. Yeah, it's fun. It's not the same thing. I mean, it's cyclical, like I pay everybody every 2 weeks, but it's never the same thing every 2 weeks.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's an ever-changing landscape. So, John, let me ask you, you've already spoken to your payroll origin story and how you got in. You said you started at a grocery store at 16 and you managed it and just fell into payroll, by surprise. So earlier on in your payroll career, did you see it as a long-term career, or did that realization come later?
I saw it as a means to an end. I thought, I'd worked retail, I was working 80 hours a week, managing a grocery store, and I wanted something that was a little more stable, like didn't work every day. And I thought, well, this timesheet stuff wasn't too bad. And I helped out with hiring people, and I liked the HR part of it, like the managing the people and leading people. So I thought maybe it was a good opportunity to get my foot in the door in an office and just see where that would take me. Well, I got in and I love numbers, and I fell in love with payroll. I mean, the numbers had to add up. My first payroll job was doing for a family-owned therapy company, and they did speech, occupational, and physical therapy. And I had to translate Sanskrit because people that are physical, occupational, speech therapists don't know how to fill out a timesheet. Like, you would make an 8 look like an 8, or you would make it look like a 3. I couldn't tell if you wrote a 9 or a 4. These are people that didn't have perfect penmanship. So, I cleaned up a lot of messes as far as, billing out hours and charging out and making sure things posted. So I did about 500 people, 500 person payroll. And, the average person would work at 5 or 6 facilities. So I'd have to break out and cost out all the hours to that. And so it was a really good job. And then the economy kind of took a turn at the beginning of 2000 into, 99 with, with Medicare and Medicaid billing. And then I ended up moving to Steak and Shake, which was like, I guess where I kind of realized payroll could be a career. I call it the University of Steak and Shake. So there's a lot of us. When you pay, 20,000 people, you have to, everybody's like, how did you do it? Well, everybody takes a piece. You eat the elephant one bite at a time. And so you kind of break it up and take pieces. And so that's, I guess, the first time when I realized, it could be a career. I got my CPP, and it inspired me to go back to school and finish my degree because I was working at a grocery store and working 80 hours a week. The thing that I lost out all the time was going back to school. So it gave me focus, and allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do. And I got a bachelor's in human resource management and my CPP, and it led to, 27 years later, here I am still doing payroll.
Wow.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So what surprised you most about payroll once you were in it?
The complexity of it. You think it'd be easy.
Yeah.
How hard can it be? It's just, you take people's hours, multiply it by a rate. The government's going to take some money and you're lucky to bring some home. Well, that sounds great. But when you first start dealing with stuff like, Illinois and Indiana, 2 states right next to each other, don't have reciprocity. So how do you,
They don't have reciprocity?
They do not have reciprocity.
Oh, wow.
So calculate the difference between someone who lives in Indiana and works in Illinois, or lives in Illinois and works in Indiana, calculating taxes. So I kind of got thrown into that. This has some complexities to it and challenges, and trying to find resources. And, luckily I found the Indianapolis chapter of Payroll Org and the National Payroll Org to find resources and get answers and look for tools and, asking people that's, you guys do the same way. You're unusual in payroll. Usually people in payroll are a little kind of reserved, don't like to talk or engage, that they'd rather just stay and look down at their desk and not stick their head up or raise their hand up. And I was never afraid to ask questions or say why, or, what do we do and how do we do this? And so that's kind of how I operated, and it worked for me. So I asked a lot of questions, and I'm like, the more curious I got, the more I wanted to learn. So it got to the point where I want to understand from the moment we hire somebody and they clock in to how does it hit the general ledger? And then, I want to understand how that whole breadth went for that 2-week cycle and see how everything worked and fell together. And so I just became my mission. If I'm going to be good at this, I want to understand how it all works. And so I kind of just dived in, and it's been a wonderful, complex journey. But yeah, as long as you have taxes and government agencies, it's always going to be complex.
Yeah, no doubt.
So speaking to the younger professionals, why do you believe that payroll is such a strong career path for them to choose?
It's funny because when I first started, there's a few people, most people were probably like us, accidentally ended up in payroll. But if I'd known what I know now, I would have said, if I was an accounting major or an HR major, I want a job that's stable, but still touches both parts of it. You can do both in payroll. There's the whole payroll accounting piece of it. And people don't understand that. I mean, payroll accounting is simple. It's expenses, cash, and liabilities. If you can't figure that out, it's, there's something wrong. But payroll is, a huge expense for the company. So there's always going to be accounting with it. There's accruals, there's, managing out costing with, paying out accruals and all that with time off and depending on what states and everything. But then there's the HR piece of it. Career progression. You see everybody from the moment they clock in till they grow and develop. So it's a great, stable job that every company needs. Everywhere you go, someone needs payroll, and you can't throw a dead cat and not hit some place that says they're not hiring a payroll person. They need a payroll person with experience, or they're doing this. So it's a wanted job. And if you're good at it, you can make a really great career out of it. And so it's something that you get to touch so many parts of a company that you don't realize at first. And, being engaged with the CEO or him asking you questions, about pay and how we're controlling stuff or how we're managing things, or, the CFO wants to know, hey, why is overtime so high? Well, I can run the numbers for you, but then you have to go ask the stores or the manufacturing sites that way. So it's a great job that has long-term career potential.
Awesome.
That's absolutely right. What do you think the biggest misunderstanding for folks outside of payroll is about payroll?
That it's easy. We just push a button. Hell, I'm looking at my keyboard right now, and I've been looking at it for 27 and a half years. I have yet to find the magic payroll button, that I just push it and magic just happens. I don't think people realize the amount of work it takes to get payroll done, and we were just talking about that earlier today. It's a short week because we're doing payroll for the first payroll of the year. It's New Year's. We lose a day because of the holiday. So we have to get payroll done a day early. So I was chasing down leaders to approve time card. And one of the leaders, the person had a full day of pay and a full day of PTO. I'm like, which is it? He's, well, what can't you ask the employee? like, are you kidding me? You're the manager. Shouldn't you
You're
know?
his manager.
You proved it. How do you know they didn't work or did they work? So, chasing down time, it's mind-boggling that a leader doesn't know that his people.
John, you mean I have to actually manage my people?
I know, crazy talk. I always tell an HR leader, if you want to know a bad manager, come ask payroll, because the leaders that aren't improving their time and taking care of their people to get paid, what else are they not doing in their job? Because I guarantee you, if they're cutting corners on that, they're cutting corners on everything else, because people aren't the most important part of what they're doing in their management job. And there's a bunch of other stuff they're not doing. And, I'll see a termination come through and go, water reached its level. Finally, they figured out this person, wasn't doing their job. So, it just starts with basics, like not submitting changes for somebody. And, here in the US, if you messed up someone's pay, like a pay rate didn't get updated, they would call you everything but a Christian. And, like Australia, the first time I was doing payroll and pay increases didn't come through right for a person, the leader I was working with in Australia was like, yeah, well, John, just throw it on the next paycheck. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like here in the US, like they would hunt you down and kill you for it. But the complexities from dealing with people, dealing with governments, trying to coordinate things across multiple departments, you're dependent on benefits, you're dependent on HR, you're dependent on accounting, you're dependent on IT. We're so ingrained with systems now that all these different parts, it's not just pressing a button every 2 weeks. While you push the button, payroll come out. It's not like that at all. It's the breadth and knowledge that you have to have, and the ability to question and understand how things work is just amazing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Wow. So you're a big believer in community, John. Yes. And so for the young payroll professional, why is community so important?
That's a really great question. And I think a lot of payroll people are, if you're starting off in your career, you're usually a 1 or 2 person show. Usually, if you're the entry level person, you probably report up to somebody that's got knowledge, or your boss that you hope would have knowledge. Sometimes they don't, or sometimes payroll's just a corner of their desk. They have multiple functions that they do. You feel like you're on an island, and you feel like nobody else can understand what I'm going through. I remember the first time I went to an Indianapolis chapter payroll meeting, and there was like 45 people there, and they're all talking about something, and I'm going, God, you guys know what I go through. And to hear somebody else be, frustrated, or, hey, this is how I figured out something, there's no better feeling than knowing that you're not by yourself and that you can get through it no matter how tough it is. And asking people, I'm lucky to have a really great extensive network of people that I can go to and say, hey, I'm having this challenge. How do you deal with it? Or how did you solve it? I know people that do payroll in California. If I have a California payroll issue, they're the first people I call. If I have a Pennsylvania local tax issue, Bruce Phipps is going to be the first person I call to figure out Pennsylvania taxes. And having that group of people that you can rely on and know that you're not alone when you're facing some tough challenges, and someone just hear what you're going through and say, hey, have you tried this? There's just something magical and empowering that you can get through it. There's nothing you can have to face on your own by having a great payroll.
Wow.
Amazing.
So there's something here before I pass it to you. And I want to see if you both agree with this saying that payroll can be isolating, but community turns it into a shared mission.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. That I found your next sweatshirt for you guys to print. That's the tagline on it. But no, absolutely. I think if you don't know what you don't know, you feel like you're kind of stuck. And like when I first started, I was a 1-person payroll team, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and like trying to find resources and ask people for help until you find it, or you find that lifeline and you build that connection, or you find a group that you can connect with. And that's a great thing about local chapters, is people that deal with kind of stuff that, typically what you deal with in a state or a city that you're used to. And then on a broader sense, the larger national payroll org, it's a great group to network. And, you've seen Congress. It's 3,000 people that, have something wrong with them because they picked a career in payroll. Like, why would you do this to yourself? But you find that commonality and know that you're not alone, and it's eye-opening, and especially when you get it with a group of people that are like-minded and want to tackle the project in the same way, or tackle an issue the same way and resolve it. Like this whole one big beautiful bill act, or as I like to call it, the one big beautiful mess. Finding commonality about that. Like the last IRS call that they had before they shut down for the shutdown, which is really convenient. Let's make the most comprehensive tax changes in years for payroll. And then we'll shut down for 41 days. No big deal.
Yep.
You guys just figure that stuff out. It'll be
Yep.
seamless. But the last IRS payroll call that they have for the payroll community, and
Hey, this is Brent Skinner, host of Small Talk Window here at the Work Defined Podcasting Network. Have you ever wanted a short podcast to listen to during a coffee break of your workday? You've come to the right place. My guests dispense with the small talk as quickly as possible and settle into a meaningful conversation around the world of work.
90% of the questions were like, hey, we need to provide guidance for this. And I'm the person that's, hey, I have a question. Can I ask? And get on the line and say, hey, what are you guys doing for this? You promised resources. I don't see it. So it's knowing that there's that commonality. And then people in the chat are like, John, go, John, go. Hold them accountable. So.
Yep. So you mentioned local chapter. Can tell someone that maybe not, what exactly is a local payroll?
Sure.
chapter?
So at Payroll Org, there's the overarching organization, Payroll Org, that represents the national. If you go on there, there's a site that says chapters. And if you click on it, there's broken out by states. A lot of cities or regions have payroll chapters, which are a local community of payroll professionals that kind of fall under the Payroll Org umbrella that work at a more of a local level. Here in Indianapolis, we're the only one for Indiana. When I first started, 27 years ago, there was 5 other chapters, and there's 5 chapters in Indiana. Now we're down to 1. But it's just a local group of people that meet periodically, some every couple of months. We meet monthly, except for December and January because year end, no big deal. But we meet on a regular basis and talk about issues. We have people come in, talk about topics, things that are relevant to us, go through, and just to find that sense of community that you mentioned, to work together and work towards a common good. A lot of times, like we just had a statewide in September, and it's a great way to gather, resources and different speakers to come in and speak. We had the comptroller from the state of Indiana come in and speak, and she talked about work that she's doing with, for managing taxation, both at a state level and at a national level. So it's just a great way to kind of network on a smaller scale.
Okay.
Amazing.
Gotcha. So how would getting involved with Payo help younger payroll pros level up faster?
That's a great question. And one, resources. You don't know what you don't know. And Payroll Org is overflowing with resources between, classes, webinars, getting your certification. There's at least one free webinar a month that Payroll Org presents. Usually mostly 2 or 3 a month. If you look and just watch, you join. There's all sorts of resources about pay cards, payroll systems, finding out about things with local governments and dealing with national issues, understanding how benefits impact payroll, how benefit changes like Secure Act 2.0 impacts us with payroll. There's so many different resources, and it's a great way to kind of say, oh, there's more than just my little piece of the pie that this company I work for. There's a lot more to it. When I got my certification, we had a book, and it was about that thick, Payroll Source. And by the time I was done studying for it, get my CPP, the binding was all ripped out, and pages were tethered and torn. And I swore that if I passed, I was going to burn it in effigy, and I did. Because it was a great resource. But you don't know what you don't know. There's 14 chapters in it, and it covers from just understanding what the difference between an employee is, all the way up to what an expat or a resident alien is and dealing with visas. So there's just so many great resources that are out there, and it's been my ace in the hole whenever I had a problem that I couldn't figure out on my own. Payroll Org either has a resource, or I know somebody from Payroll Org that can help me figure out a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. What would you say to someone who feels too new or not experienced enough to join?
Everybody has to start somewhere. Like, I don't know would you rather be successful and have tools in your toolbox to be Batman? I feel like I have my Batman utility belt on. I can pull something out. I've got my Batarang. I've got the tethering cable. I've got the cape that, turns into a parachute if I need it to. It just gives you the tools and resources to, kind of look and ask questions and be involved. And if you don't want to start big, start small. Look at a local chapter. Joining national, all you do is go online, join it, and they'll send you resources. But you can be as involved or not as involved as you want to be. You can read stuff if you're not a person that wants to speak up. One of my favorite things, I joke about it all the time with the publication group and the resource group, is Payroll Currently. You get every month, and it provides you an update of everything that's going on at a national level, state updates, things like that. When I first started in Payroll Org, it got mailed to you, and I looked forward to it. And then it became a fax. For those kids at home that don't understand, fax is a way to send things electronically, and then it prints for you. It's kind of like an email, except different. But now it comes as an email attachment, and I still download the PDF and read through it every month like I'm a little kid that just got a free piece of candy. So it's just information to help you be better at what you do and doing your job. So I think you can do as much or as little as you want at first. And that's kind of how I started. I kind of sat back and watched for a while and kind of found my groove and found my spot, and I jumped in.
Wow.
So would you say you don't join when you're ready, you join to become ready?
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly what I'd say. It's to build a foundation that you want to have your house on. To be successful at what you do, you have to have some knowledge and understanding of how things work. And it's just like you go to college and you take all these classes. I've got a sophomore at IU right now, and she is, Dad, why do I have to take this class? I'm like, well, it's to expand your horizon and for them to make extra money, because, you're not taking all the classes towards your degree yet, but it gives you an understanding. You may not ever do this part of it. You may not ever do payroll accounting. You may be just a payroll person, but understanding how that payroll accounting piece works in concert with your job is going to make you better at what you do. You may not ever have to do a system implementation. You may not ever have to be involved with HRIS, but all this stuff goes hand in hand with payroll. And so the more you know about it, the better it helps you to do your job.
Absolutely. More conversations you can have, yeah, for sure.
So, Jon, I'm sure you have, but have you seen real examples of careers progressing or drastically changing because they decided to join a chapter or get involved?
I've seen a lot of people. I'll use myself, for example. I was doing was kind of at a payroll supervisor level, and, was doing okay. And the more I got involved, the more I wanted to do more. So I got involved and got my CPP. And I kind of was like, hey, this is my rubber stamp that I know what I'm doing. And, getting that plaque and seeing that you're certified on it and saying, this is something that I earned, that, that I took the skills that I got in my job and it turned into something that I can take with me anywhere I go. That led me to doing more in school, which created other opportunities for me. So I went from being a supervisor to a manager and now to a director. So it's influenced me by being involved and asking questions and finding opportunities. I see other people, like, a lot of people you've had on the show, Max, for example, which was a great podcast. Max and I met in 2012 at a payroll event they used to have called the Fall Forum here in Indianapolis. We were both taking the Global Payroll Management Institute, global payroll certification. And it was Max and me and a couple other guys in a room full of women. We obviously gravitated towards each other, and we've become friends, and I'm lucky to know Max. And I'm very impressed in your podcast when you had him on that you got 3 words in it, and with him. So that's impressive. But I've seen people like Max that have grown and developed because of his involvement. Sarah was another great example. And you've had some incredible people on, like Jody Parsons, who her involvement with doing stuff. And I first met Jody, like, it is my dream to do payroll for a sports team. And then and then you hear about it, like, a baseball player gets 60 pages of W-2s because every locality and state they play in. I'm like, you know what? My little payroll's okay. But the rocks on her finger are pretty cool. So I've seen a lot of people that have grown and developed. And this next younger group that's coming up, that there's a lot of great people, and Sarah, Gerard, because they became involved, they do more. They've grown not only as their careers, but speakers and advocates and evangelists for what we do in payroll. So,
Yep. Yeah.
So speaking of growth and all that, I mean, I don't think we shared this with you, but you're segueing so perfectly. What do you think of the soft skills or power skills, we like to say, that people need to gain that will directly impact promotion or opportunity?
I think developing a sense of knowing your audience. The thing that's universal about
Yes,
payroll
I
is
love that.
everybody gets paid. And when someone has a payroll issue, they talk to you like you're at the same level they are. And whether they make $213 an hour as a tipped person, or they're the CEO that makes $1 million a year and more than that, if they have a payroll issue, you're usually the only other person that sees what they see. So they relate to you at a level, and knowing how to talk to both somebody that makes $213 an hour and be able to talk to a CEO that has that, hey, John, my accountant's going to be calling you. I have some questions about my taxes, and I've already given him permission. I just want to make sure that you know that you need to go through and talk to him. Well, that's a different skill set than talking to somebody that's, I don't understand who this OASDI guy is and why you're taking it out of my pay. I didn't sign up for this. Can you stop that? So I think having the ability to communicate and to talk to people at their level at payroll,
Yes.
and another soft skill, and I teach it as one of the presentations I do, is customer service and payroll. People are like, what are you
Yes.
talking about? Customer service and payroll? Our job's inherently customer service. No one ever calls and says, hey, my paycheck's perfect. Thanks, John. I really appreciate you. And then hang up. You only hear from people at their worst moment where,
Yep.
it's something that's impacting them financially, and knowing that their emotions not coming at you, they're emotional about the situation. Their direct deposit didn't go through, or,
Mhm.
something happened, and God forbid that I've ever experienced where somebody messed up and nobody's direct deposit went through. And
Ooh.
dealing with that situation when you're walking in the door and everybody's waiting to draw and quarter you outside the building and sacrifice you for what happened. Knowing how to handle those situations, it comes with customer service and being able to talk to people at their level. And,
Yeah.
communication and customer service, I think, are two areas, I think, where people lack. And my team jokes with me all the time, like, there's two most challenging groups I've ever had to deal with, and I've dealt with both in payroll, are both engineers and actuaries, because they're so smart. There's no way you can know as much as they do, and they're going to question you on everything that you do. So especially, I get tax questions, and my team will be like, John, I've gone back and forth with this person 5 times, can't get them to understand, and I'm frustrated with them. We take a look I look, and I'm like, oh, they're an engineer. Well, I'm going to have to overkill them with information. Like, we didn't just randomly pick this tax rate to take you. Like, this is publication 15, the circular E. This provides the tax tables.
Yes.
And this is how I
Yes.
calculate it, and this is how it works. And you get an email
Yep.
back, and they're like, thank you. I appreciate creating the clarity for me. Your team's like, how
Yep.
did you do it? You got to talk to people at their level. They want to know
Meet
if
them
they're
where they
talking
are.
to somebody that understands the process as much as they do with what they do.
Yep. I love that. So before we close this out, what advice or one piece of advice could you give to a payroll professionals who may be in their first 3 years? What would that be?
The Ted Lasso thing is overbeaten. I'm just going to take the first part of it. Be curious, not judgmental, but be curious. Ask questions, want to learn, want to grow, want to find the resources to be the best person that you can be. Like, ask the questions like, okay, hey, when I do this, how does this impact the bottom line? Or how does this impact the GL? You get to see that, because then you know more about what your profession does. Or, hey, I noticed that we have had new hires that are coming in, and they're not getting us the right information for direct deposit or their tax form. What can I do to help? So understanding how whole the process works, be curious, find resources to grow your education, whether it's taking a webinar through Payroll, or if you have your payroll system that offers courses. A lot of payroll systems offer courses and information about how to become better at that. Become the best at what you do. And even if it's, paying 100 people, be the best payroll person that pays 100 people. and do that job proficiently and do it really well, because once you're comfortable with that and understanding and see how things work, you're going to be able to understand and grow and do more than beyond what you can ever think of. And so just becoming the best version of you and want to learn and grow, and you'd be surprised how far it'll take you.
Live, CBS January 11th. Hollywood's biggest party is now bigger than ever.
Perfect. No notes.
The Golden Globes, with more stars, more glamour, more chaos, and more host Nikki Glazer.
We're gonna laugh at the celebrities that can take it and completely ignore the ones who can't. I'm just kidding. They're not safe either.
The Golden Globes, live CBS Sunday, January 11th, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So, John, we're coming to our segment of the episode where we play a game with all our guests.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
So it's this or that. And so we have 6 of them. Brian, do you want to go first? And then I do the last 3?
Yes, sir. All right. Remote work or in office?
I work remotely now. I've worked remotely now for 1.5 years. And I would say remote work. But I will tell you that I do miss some of the stuff about being in the office. Something about the big pitch in where everybody brings something. That's a lot of fun. But I also like the extra 40 minutes I get at the beginning of my day and the extra 40 minutes at the end of my day where I'm not stuck in a car and want to scream. So definitely work from home and work remote. I can have my music playing in the background, podcast if I want, but it's just, I never thought I would like it when I first started in payroll, just working from home because it was taboo for us to do. But,
yeah, exactly.
But
That's right.
I've grown to really love it. Yeah, there's no way you can do payroll from home. Hey, COVID, hold my beer. Payroll can work from home. So,
yeah.
Pizza or tacos?
Oh, boy, that's tough. You can do so much with both. I'll say tacos, though. There's something magical about the different things you can do with tacos. And that's my secret passion is my creativity is I love to cook. So I cook all the time. And my kids send me TikToks. My teenagers send me TikToks like, Dad, can you make this? And I'm like, yes. And I start making it. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? So, but yeah, I'm one of those that I'm black and white. I like things concrete and steady. I can open the pantry and the fridge, come up with something with dinner like that. So,
So I think there's a correlation between payroll pros and cooking, right? Somebody posted something on LinkedIn and I was like, oh, this is it. Oh, actually, it's I want to say Claire Bear. It's Claire is her first name, and she's a fellow panda from across the pond. And she said something about cook, and I said, no, there's a correlation here for me. And I had to think about it. And I was like, well, why? Why are we obsessed with cooking? I think it's the preparation, the compliance, the precision, the and then it's an end result, right?
Yeah.
It's an end result that everybody's happy with, ideally.
I like that. That's great, man.
I remember when I learned what mise en place meant, everything in its place, like when you're cooking, and it's so apropos for payroll. Like we want everything in its place. I want it in the right container, and this belongs here, and this belongs here, and and then when we put it together and get that paycheck done, that's when the magic happens. It's just like putting all the ingredients together.
Perfect. Yeah. Right there. That's exactly right. My wife said once to someone, she cooks so people can eat. I cook to make you happy.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah. Excel or Google Sheets?
Excel. Why? My kids use Google Sheets and they come to me with that stupid thing and they show it to me and I'm like, where's the backslash? How can I get this to work? I learned Excel and I never took my hand off the keyboard. I could do backslash. So functionality, ease of use, things to do. I
think it's just a learning thing, John, though, because Walt is good at Google Sheets, and what do you mean? It has everything. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have it. Here it is. And he like shows everything that I'm like, it doesn't have it. He's like, it's right here. Look, Brian, it's here. And I'm like,
the best way I can explain it to you, Excel is Heinz ketchup and Google Sheets is store brand ketchup. I mean, it's okay in a pinch, but you want the good stuff. You want the good stuff. It's okay, and I help my kids with it, but there's just certain functionalities and things that you do in Excel that are inherent that make things easier. And so, like, my daughter's in college, and she's having this tough transition from using everything from Google through high school, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google presentations. And now she'll call me like, I have no idea how to do this in Word. Can you explain it to me, Dad? Or Dad, I have no idea how to build a PowerPoint. And I'm like, it's just like Google presentations, except easier.
Yeah.
And so
it's easier. I love that, man. Okay, John. Coffee or an energy drink?
Coffee. Don't do energy drinks. My two vices are 2 cups of coffee in the morning and then iced tea. I hardly ever drink a soda unless I'm going to see a movie. Then I want a bucket of popcorn, a big old fat icy Coke to go with it. But yeah, coffee. I don't do energy drinks. Maybe it's the Jaeger bombs I might have had in my youth. That Red Bull and Jaeger. You ever thought that was a good idea?
Oh God.
No, not a good idea. But definitely coffee. Yes.
I think I know the answer to this next one, but do you prefer processing payroll or teaching others how to do it?
This one might throw you off. I like both. I really like both because the more I still do it, the better I am at teaching it. So I think it's kind of yin and yang. I think in order
That's how we feel about the show.
Yeah, I think it's the more that I do it, and we're a smaller team, and I had my lead payroll person, her father-in-law just passed away earlier this past week, it's early in the week. But, being able to jump in, and she came back today and she's like, hey, where do I need to start? I'm like, all the pre-processing stuff's done. I did all the work. So when you came back today, I knew you wouldn't have to worry about it. So me knowing how to do that makes it easier for me to teach things and have an understanding of what my team does. So if there's something that we need to get better at or improve, I think it's one I'll say, I think you need to be good at both. And they yin and yang with each other. You need one to do the other.
I love it.
Love that. All right, last one. Do you prefer a great movie or a great book?
Well, my kids would love to jump in and answer this. I'm going to say great movie. And they're like, Dad, we don't ever see you read a book. That's because I read all day long. I read, I read stuff all day long. It's hard for me to want to switch to reading. I have read some great books, and my kids will tease me about this. If they hear this, they'll be like, what books have you read, Dad? I read Max's book. Max's book is wonderful. I read that on a flight. And
not Payroll though.
Yeah, I really love a good movie, and I like something that's going to surprise me that I have to think about. So documentaries, I could go for days on documentaries, how great they are. And so, but yeah, definitely a good movie or a good documentary over a book.
Awesome, man. Awesome. This has been great, John. You're a wealth of information and payroll knowledge. Honored to have you on the show.
Honored to be on here. You guys do a great job. I love your podcast. I love the diversity of topics you talk about. Like you just talked about 190. You never thought you'd get 2 episodes in, and run out of payroll topics. It just goes to show you how big payroll is and what it touches and the things that are involved with it. So you guys do a terrific job. It's my honor to be on here and get to hang out with you guys. So
thank you for that.
The honor was absolutely ours. I mean, I'm just thinking the whole time, how blessed are we that we get the guests that we get, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
My God.
It's a testament to what you guys do and the things that you do and promote. I think this is another thing that really will help draw younger people into payroll. Hearing somebody talk about it, and then they hear like that you guys have a podcast, and then they go 197 episodes of payroll, and they've got Crime Junkie stuff on here too. What is this job, and how do I sign up for it? So you guys do a terrific job, and I appreciate it. It's wonderful to listen, and it's great to hear the topics that you guys talk about and the things that you found. And I love it when you guys get surprised. That's my favorite. When I listen to the podcast, I can see your faces with the energy when someone says something. You're like, tell us more about that. And so
yes.
I love it. So
and that's why we don't do pre-screenings for shows. I won't get into and if I have to, if it's someone I really want, and there's somebody coming on that I really want on, so I'm gonna do a pre-screening with her. But it's gonna be short, sweet. Hey, we don't, nope. So but I love being surprised, and man, thank you so much. And look, we gotta schedule the crime.
Oh,
it's definitely got
we could do like several episodes because I love it. Like I'm sitting listening to them going, oh, I love this. It's like a great documentary.
Let's do it serious. Let's do it serious.
Dateline payroll.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Let's
we
do it.
don't do them often, so you can come on anytime we do them.
Absolutely. I'd love to be back. So anytime.
Oh, man. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. It's your home now. And, Walt, you want to take us out of here?
The quote? Yes. So
Yes, sir.
the quote is, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
No doubt.
Profound. Absolutely.
No doubt. Word.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Folks, subscribe, hit share. I mean, this is one of the best ones we've ever done. And
Yeah.
I mean, we just keep getting blessed with great folks and great guests. And thank you so much for coming on. And can't wait to share this one with the community. Everybody's going to be psyched to hear you on here. And just so happy to have you on, John. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We love you. Peace.
All right.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.